Hi friends, welcome back to the Enchanted Stay, where fantasy books and Stray Kids exist in chaotic harmony. Today we're diving into another Stray Kids song from a fantasy and literary perspective. And honestly, this might be one of the most fantasy-coded songs Seungmin has ever sung. Because Into the Current isn't really about the ocean. It's about freedom. It's about leaving behind the world you've outgrown. It's about stepping beyond fear, beyond comfort, beyond the walls that were never meant to contain you. So today we're breaking down themes, archetypes, tropes, symbolism, and other literary devices, and then matching it with fantasy stories that carry the same emotional energy. So grab your sword, your light stick, and let's dive into the current. Core theme, leaving the cage. The central image of the song appears immediately.
작은 어항 속에 숨쉬지 않는 꽃들이 예쁘게 피었지만 향기 나지 않는 너도 나와 같구나.
Inside a small fishbowl, flowers that can't breathe. This is one of the most beautiful metaphors in the song. The flowers are alive, but not really living. They're beautiful, safe, and completely disconnected from what makes life meaningful. The fishbowl becomes a symbol for stagnation, comfort without growth, safety without freedom. Fantasy literature loves this theme, because so many fantasy protagonists begin their stories trapped, not necessarily by villains, by expectations, by routine, by fear, by the belief that their world is all there is. This falls into the escape from the ordinary world, the call to adventure, and the caged bird archetype. The narrator isn't running towards something yet. They're simply realizing there has to be more than this. The star as the mentor. One of my favorite moments in the entire song is when the star speaks.
어항 속에서 쳐다본 별이 어느 날 내게 말을 걸어 하얀 원하지 거리고 저 바다는 여전히 흘러.
The star I gazed at from the fishbowl spoke to me one day. This is pure fantasy. Stars have always represented guidance, destiny, possibility, hope beyond what we can currently see. In storytelling, this functions exactly like a mentor figure, not a person, an idea. The star tells the narrator, your world isn't only the sky you've been looking at. And that's devastating, because the narrator suddenly realizes they've mistaken a tiny fragment of reality for the whole world. Fantasy protagonists experience this all the time. Think Frodo learning about the wider world.
It's wonderful to see you, Gandalf.
You didn't think I'd miss your Uncle Bilbo's bits.
Harry discovering magic.
You're a wizard, Harry.
I'm a what?
A wizard. And a thumping good one, I'd wager, once you trade up a little.
Percy Jackson realizing mythology is real.
What can I do? Listen, use the pen! What? Use Runner's pen and click it!
The mentor doesn't give them power. The mentor expands their perspective. Theme, there is more. At its heart, Into the Current asks a simple question. What if everything you've known is only a small part of what's possible? This fishbowl isn't evil. The people inside it aren't villains. The problem is limitation. The narrator has confused familiarity with destiny. Fantasy stories are full of characters who must confront this realization. The village isn't the world. The kingdom isn't the world. The map isn't the world. There is always something beyond the horizon. This is the beyond the horizon trope, the wide world calling, the dreamer archetype. The song isn't about dissatisfaction. It's about curiosity. And curiosity is often the first step toward transformation. The Fishbowl Symbolism. Let's talk about the fishbowl itself, because it's doing a lot of heavy lifting here. A fishbowl creates the illusion of freedom. The fish can move, the fish can explore, The fish can survive, but only within predetermined limits. And that's important, because many fantasy prisons don't look like prisons. They are expectations, traditions, roles, identities.
유리 너머 보인 바다는 어떤 곳일까 수천 번에 훔쳐봐도 닿질 않는 내 모습이
The narrator isn't physically trapped, they're psychologically trapped, which makes the glass wall one of the most powerful symbols in the song. You can see the ocean, you just can't reach it, at least not yet. The crack in the glass. Then comes the turning point.
조금씩 의미가 점점 물이 빠지고
Little by little, cracks form and water seeps through. This is the moment the story changes. Fantasy protagonists often experience a fracture, a moment where the old world stops feeling permanent. The crack represents possibility, but also danger, because once you see the flaw in the wall, you can't unsee it. And notice what happens next.
그 사이를 힘껏 부딪혀 깨질 듯한 날카롭게 부서진 유리 조각이 조금 바뀌어도 괜찮아 이젠 곳이니까.
The narrator doesn't wait. They throw themselves at the barrier, again and again, even knowing it might hurt. This is crossing the threshold, the point of no return, the leap of faith. Every fantasy hero reaches this moment. The moment where staying becomes scarier than leaving. The Glass Shards. One line absolutely fascinates me.
날카롭게 부서진 유리 조각이 조금 바뀌어도 괜찮아 이젠 곳이니까.
Even if shards of broken glass pierce into me, it's okay. I'm almost there now. Because the song acknowledges something important. Freedom hurts. Growth hurts. Change hurts. Fantasy often romanticizes adventure. Into the Current doesn't. The narrator knows they'll get cut. They know leaving won't be easy. And they choose it anyway. This is one of the oldest heroic themes in storytelling. True courage is acting despite fear, not in the absence of it. The wounds become symbolic, not of failure, of transition. They're proof that transformation has begun. The Ocean Archetype. The ocean is one of the most powerful symbols in literature. It can represent freedom, possibility, destiny, chaos, even rebirth. And in this song, it's all of them at once. Notice that the narrator doesn't say, I'll conquer the ocean. Instead, they say,
새로운 먼 곳에 저 파도가 넘실대는 바다에 몸을 맡겨 흘러갈래.
I want to let myself be carried away. That's important. This isn't about domination. It's about surrender. Trusting the current. Trusting the unknown. Trusting yourself enough to leave certainty behind. Fantasy often frames growth as control. But this song frames growth as release. And honestly, that's much harder. Transformation without arrival. What I love most about Into the Current is that it never shows us the ending. The narrator doesn't reach the ocean. They choose it. The transformation happens before the destination. That's incredibly powerful storytelling. Because fantasy isn't really about arriving. It's about becoming. The person who steps beyond the glass isn't the same person who once stared through it. The choice itself changes them. And that's why this song feels like the perfect beginning of a fantasy novel. Not the ending. More like the first chapter. Final message. Into the Current. The title itself tells us everything. Into the current. Not against it. Not away from it. Into it. The current represents life, change, growth, the future, the unknown. The narrator stops fighting movement and chooses to become part of it. And that's what makes this song feel so magical. It's a story about leaving fear behind. Not because fear disappears, but because the dream becomes bigger than the fear. Fantasy book recommendations. If Into the Current resonates with you, you will probably love these books. The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, leaving home and discovering a bigger world. 6 Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim, breaking free of expectations and finding your own path. Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan, curiosity, destiny, and the world beyond the horizon. Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson, an ordinary person choosing adventure. Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett, stepping beyond comfort and into wonder. Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor, dreams that refuse to stay trapped. The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune, finding the courage to live the life you've always known. The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien, the moment the journey truly begins. If Into the Current makes your heart ache for somewhere you've never been, these books probably will too. Into the Current isn't really about escaping. It's about becoming, about realizing the world is bigger than the walls around you, about accepting that growth comes with risk, and about choosing the ocean anyway. Because sometimes the bravest thing a person can do is leave the fishbowl. Let me know in the comments, what line hit you the hardest, and which Stray Kids song I should deep dive next. If you love this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay chaotic, stay magical, stay.